With Resident Evil Requiem officially out at the time of this recording, and all of us are having a jolly good time smashing zombies' faces into the wall with Leon, I thought it'd be a good time to go in depth of what Capcom has in store for us, and they got some shit that will knock the T-virus right out of ya. Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil 0, and the next installment in the series. Find out what you need to know right here, grab your ink ribbon, then save because we're leaving this safe room right now. Resident Evil Code Veronica originally released as early as February 3rd, 2000, a beloved game that fans adored but never got the proper treatment it deserves, such as Resident Evil 2, 3, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. One would think that after 3, following the original chronological release order of the originals, Code Veronica would be next. The interest of a remake for Code Veronica began to spark shortly after the success of Resident Evil 2 Remake, but since then, fans never got what they wanted. But then, in 2025, the one and only Dusk Golem, a notorious leaker amongst the Resident Evil community, revealed that Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 are in the works for 2027, next year, as well as 2028, 2 years. The tweet that sparked the hype stated, "What I've heard is Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake should be announced next year and released in 2027, then 0 Remake released in the following year in 2028. I'll keep you posted if I hear differently. For now though, Requiem High Time Resident Evil 9 is 2.5 months away." This got fans, including myself, hyped, as Resident Evil Code Veronica is a Resident Evil game I've unfortunately missed out on. To play it in its full rendition from the ground up would be immaculate, to say the least, but what of the release dates? Capcom develops a Resident Evil title nearly every 2 to 3 years since the release of Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 and 8 were both 4 years apart, with Requiem being 5 years shortly after Village. The remakes are basically developed in between or alongside the mainline titles. Development time for Resident Evil 2 and 4 were 3 to 5 years roughly, while 3 coincide along with 2, which came out a year after Resident Evil 2, then was outsourced to ensure a turnaround, and that game did not turn out to meet fans' expectations, but nonetheless, Capcom confirmed the future remakes are still up in the air. No RE5 has been confirmed, so that just leads the next best thing. Code Veronica, baby. With all this information in mind, the last Resident Evil was 4 Remake, March 23rd, 2023. Basically 3 years ago, and with this pattern recognition, that means we must get an announcement possibly this year. I predict the end of this year, if what Dusk Golem has been saying about it being revealed this year to be correct, with a late 2027 release date. If they were to follow the trend of what they did with RE2 and RE3, releasing 2 games back to back like the rumors have it with Code Veronica and 0, then I'm pretty sure they will be allocating various developers abroad for each title. To support this theory, I have even better proof, or well, theoretical proof. A tweet from Dusk Golem says, "For what it's worth, from what I've heard a few times now, actually, Code Veronica Remake not only is being handled by a lot of the same people as RE2 and RE4, but is being treated as a big budget mainline Resident Evil game in every way." What I would actually like from this game, coming from someone who hasn't experienced Code Veronica yet, I think it would be nice to play an over-the-shoulder version of this remake. I know there's a lot of die-hard purists out there who enjoy the original and might not want to have any big changes, but oh well, what are you gonna do, you know? The original's still there and you can still play that. But I would like to see the mechanics from Resident Evil Requiem that were used properly, as well as fluidly brought over to this game alongside the mechanics from 4. I don't know, 4 to me literally had the best remake out of all the other ones thus far, following 2 Remake shortly after. If we can get a combination of 3, sprinkle it into the pot, and then we'll get some fine shit. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. So reports claim that the remake in development is under a codename Project Chamber, Chamber being the last name of Rebecca. Like its remake counterpart, this game would be developed by Capcom's in-house engine. Actor John McLaren, who is rumored to be voice acting in the game, had a lot to say back in October 2025. Let's read his paragraph on kitguru.net. According to MP First, one of the lead actors for the game, John McLaren, recently updated their CV with Project Chamber, which is believed to be the code name for Resident Evil 0. Though investigation to the site also learned that Beyond Capture Studio is producing the motion capture for the game after previously working on the Resident Evil 4 remake and Street Fighter 6. Dust Golem, a prominent Resident Evil leaker, has previously claimed that the remakes for both Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Code Veronica were in the works. The latter is experienced to release first, so it could be another couple years before RE0 remake becomes available. And it's claimed from inside sources that Resident Evil 0 remake will feature more expansion upon the story alongside the gameplay mechanics, following the previous remakes that have done the same, probably retconning a few things to fit into the grander story of Resident Evil, something Capcom did similarly to RE3 remake. For those who don't know, John is known for portraying Star-Lord in the Guardians of the Galaxy game that released back in 2021, and he also did some work for Far Cry 5. What I'm really excited for is the fact that the team from Resident Evil 4 are rumored to be working on this title, but is this the remake that fans want? Besides Code Veronica, this game could use a remake in a lot of areas. If you know, that weapon management is atrocious. I replayed 0 about 2 years ago, and the main thing I really find disheartening when popping that game in is the fact that I will be needing to drop items on the floor just to go back and get them when needed, especially important items. Like, I'm curious about how they're going to tackle the character switching in the game itself. Are they going to just leave it out altogether, then allow you to pick from different characters? Will they give you the same treatment they've done with Requiem? I feel like they should double down and go along with the character switching, since, out of all the other installments, it was unique to this title at the time. Certain story beats do need remaking, as the article says, so I agree with that. Let's not forget the boss battles. Those can use an upgrade as well. We just got Resident Evil Requiem though, and there's rumors of Resident Evil 10? Not much could be said about this other than Resident Evil 10 could be coming soon if you follow the Capcom development timeline I spoke about earlier. Though I feel, in my opinion, that 2029 is a bit too soon for this next installment of the game, but this is coming from Dust Golem, the man that has been getting a lot of things about this series right, but still, take this with a grain of salt. Let's read a tweet from Dust himself. Not confirmed officially, no, but what I've heard is pretty reliable. Resident Evil Requiem has DLC that furthers along in dev. RE9 got delayed in dev a few times. Apocalypse was aiming for 2023, and Requiem was for 2025, delayed to 2026 as such. The gap between RE9 and RE10, though, likely won't be called that. It's a bit shorter than usual, presuming RE10 doesn't get delayed too, and right now it's aiming for a 2029 release date, but could be delayed to 2030, 2031 at worst, up to the whims of game devs. And DLC for RE9 had time to cook, and the DLC for it would have came out in 2026 to bridge the gap between RE9 and Code Veronica remake / 0 remake, similar to Shadows of Rose RE8 DLC for RE8. It's just due to RE9 getting delayed that they'll be close together. Now, that's interesting. I can't find anything anywhere that states Capcom delayed the game publicly, but insiders like Dust plus others state that it has been internally. But if that is true, and knowing what we know, it makes sense if they come out close, since, there's multiple teams being thrown at different projects. Now, there isn't much I can say about what I would want from Resident Evil 10 since, yeah, I haven't beaten Requiem yet, I know. But one thing I really want is a final team up with the original Stars team. Leon, Claire, Jill, the rest of the gang. I think it's time to close the chapter since our favorite Jill sandwich is officially aging. Let's give the torch to Ethans, the Mias, the Roses, and the Graces. Actually, now that I think about it, a solo game with Mia could pretty be cool. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for a Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica remake? Do you think Capcom could pursue other remakes in their IP catalog? Comment below, let's discuss this together. I don't bite. Like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell like it's the cure to the outbreak. If you enjoyed this video, you can also check out my roadmap video talking about Konami's upcoming Silent Hill game on the left, or you can check out my God of War video where we discuss the recent leaks on the upcoming game. All right, Sleepy Gamers, count your sheep, catch your Z's, and go to sleep. Peace out.